On November 2, 2025, President Donald Trump sat down with Norah O'Donnell for a highly anticipated 60 Minutes interview at Mar-a-Lago. The setting was nothing short of grand, with the opulent decor of Mar-a-Lago providing a stark contrast to the tense atmosphere. This wasn't just another political chat, it was a major media event, set against a backdrop of a government shutdown and rising tensions with Venezuela. The nation was on edge, and the world was watching. The interview came just months after CBS's parent company settled a $16 million lawsuit Trump filed over a previous interview's editing, adding extra tension to the encounter. This legal battle had left scars, and both parties were keenly aware of the stakes. Both Trump and CBS entered the room with heightened awareness, knowing every word would be scrutinized. The air was thick with anticipation, and the pressure was palpable. For Trump, it was a chance to speak directly to Americans and shape the narrative. For O'Donnell, an opportunity to press him on urgent national issues. The stakes were incredibly high for both sides. The stakes were high: economic uncertainty, a government shutdown affecting hundreds of thousands, and escalating foreign crises. The American public was desperate for answers and reassurance. Trump's recent controversial pardon and his handling of Venezuela loomed over the conversation. These were not just political issues. They were deeply personal for many Americans. The interview promised answers on the economy, foreign policy, and the administration's direction. It was a rare opportunity to hear directly from the president on these critical issues. Viewers tuned in hoping for clarity on the president's plans during a turbulent period. Families, friends, and colleagues gathered around their screens, eager for insight. The history between Trump and CBS made every exchange feel charged. The tension was almost tangible, and every question and answer carried weight. This was more than an interview. It was a pivotal moment for both the president and the media. The outcome could influence public opinion and shape future narratives. The nation watched, eager for insight into the man leading them through crisis. This was a moment of truth, and everyone knew it. What aired on 60 Minutes was just a carefully selected slice of a much longer conversation. The 90-minute Trump-O'Donnell interview was whittled down for television, leaving much on the cutting room floor. The final broadcast ran under 28 minutes, which is standard for TV news, but this time, the editing process was under a microscope. Trump's recent lawsuit over previous interview edits had put CBS on high alert, and every decision was scrutinized. CBS producers faced tough editorial choices, weighing what was most newsworthy, what would resonate with viewers, and what might stir controversy. The pressure was intense, as every second counted. To address concerns about transparency, CBS posted the full, unedited interview and transcript online. This move allowed the public to see everything for themselves, sparking even more debate and analysis across social media and news outlets. Trump, fully aware of the editing process, even commented during the interview about which moments he thought should make the final cut, adding another layer of intrigue. Notably, his remarks about the $16 million settlement, a topic that could have shifted the narrative, were omitted from the televised segment. Also left out were his words of praise for CBS's new editor-in-chief, a detail that might have softened the tone of the broadcast. These editorial omissions underscored the ongoing tension and mistrust between Trump and the media, fueling speculation about bias and intent. The editing process itself became a story, with viewers actively seeking out the full version online to judge for themselves what was left out and why. The interview served as a powerful reminder that what's seen on TV is only part of the story, and that context can change everything. Behind every broadcast, there's a complex negotiation over what the public gets to see and what remains unseen, shaping the narrative in ways viewers may never fully realize. The economy took center stage as O'Donnell pressed Trump on rising costs and the government shutdown. She challenged his claim that there was no inflation, pointing to grocery prices that continued to climb. Trump insisted prices were down, but official data showed a 2.7% rise in groceries and 3% overall inflation. The disconnect between Trump's optimism and Americans' struggles was stark. On the shutdown, Trump blamed Democrats and threatened the nuclear option, but offered no new healthcare plan to resolve the impasse. His answers revealed a tough negotiating stance, but left many questions about real solutions. The segment exposed deep political divisions and the real-world impact on federal workers. Trump's confidence contrasted with the uncertainty facing American families. The interview highlighted the gap between political rhetoric and everyday reality. O'Donnell confronted Trump about the escalating crisis with Venezuela and the risk of war. Trump refused to confirm or deny military action, keeping options open and adversaries guessing. He declared President Maduro's days numbered and accused Venezuela of sending criminals to the U.S. The administration's legal justification for military action, sidestepping the War Powers Act, sparked controversy. Trump projected strength, signaling he'd act decisively without waiting for Congress. His rhetoric heightened uncertainty and kept the threat of conflict alive. Claims about Venezuela emptying its prisons into the U.S. added to the tension. The segment underscored the administration's aggressive foreign policy and the high stakes in the Caribbean. One of the most talked about moments in the interview was Trump's recent and highly publicized pardon of Changpeng Zhao, the founder of Binance, the world's largest cryptocurrency exchange. Veteran journalist Leslie O'Donnell didn't hold back, pressing Trump on whether the pardon was essentially a pay-for-play move, especially in light of Zhao's conviction for money laundering and the massive sums involved. Trump, however, flatly denied any personal connection to Zhao, dismissing the case as a Biden witch hunt. He insisted the pardon was about supporting U.S. crypto innovation and protecting American interests in the global tech race against China. Yet, O'Donnell and others questioned his denial, pointing out that the Trump Organization had recently entered a $2 billion partnership with Binance, raising eyebrows about possible conflicts of interest. Adding to the intrigue, Trump had just signed the Genius Act, the first major piece of U.S. crypto regulation, signaling a deeper relationship with the industry and a willingness to shape its future. The interview ignited a fierce debate about the role of money, influence, and transparency in American politics, especially as digital currencies become more mainstream. O'Donnell's relentless questioning put Trump on the defensive, forcing him to address growing skepticism about his true motives and the potential for political favoritism. The pardon quickly became a symbol of controversial executive decisions, sparking heated discussions across the political spectrum. This segment highlighted the increasingly blurred lines between business interests, public policy, and the far-reaching power of the presidency. The controversy over Zhao's pardon ensured the issue would remain front and center in the public eye, fueling ongoing media coverage and public debate. Ultimately, it raised lasting questions about ethics, accountability, and the true meaning of justice at the highest levels of government, a debate that is far from over. Immigration, a Trump hallmark, was a major focus of the interview. O'Donnell noted illegal border crossings were at a 55-year low, questioning the need for aggressive ICE raids. Trump dismissed the data, insisting enforcement hadn't gone far enough and blaming liberal judges for blocking his agenda. He defended deporting all undocumented immigrants, using harsh language to describe them as threats. Trump repeated unsubstantiated claims that countries like Venezuela were sending criminals to the U.S. His rhetoric underscored a hardline stance, regardless of changing statistics. Supporters saw strength, critics saw cruelty and exaggeration. The exchange revealed the deep divide over immigration policy. Trump's position remained unyielding, ensuring the issue would stay central and polarizing. Fact-checking Trump's statements was a challenge throughout the interview. He claimed there was no inflation, contradicting government data showing rising prices. On foreign aid, Trump exaggerated U.S. support to Ukraine, citing $350 billion, when the real figure was under $100 billion. He repeated debunked claims about the 2020 election and inflated numbers on immigration. The volume of inaccuracies put pressure on O'Donnell and news outlets to provide context. Real-time corrections were difficult, leaving much of the fact-checking to post-interview analysis. The interview highlighted the challenge of informing the public when a leader's statements often diverge from reality. News organizations scrambled to set the record straight after the broadcast. The dynamic underscored the complexities of political journalism in the current era. The interview ignited debate about journalism's role in the Trump era. O'Donnell was praised for tough questions, but criticized for not fact-checking Trump more aggressively in real time. Some argued journalists must correct misinformation immediately. Others said constant interruptions derail interviews. The broadcast became a case study in the challenges of interviewing polarizing figures. The media's responsibility to inform versus letting leaders speak freely was hotly debated. The interview forced both press and public to reflect on the evolving role of journalism. There's no easy answer. Balancing accountability and access remains a central dilemma. The 60 Minutes interview showed just how high the stakes are for the free press. Trump's 60 Minutes interview was more than a TV event. It was a window into American politics and media in 2025. The public saw Trump's unfiltered views on the economy, foreign policy, and his combative style. His repeated use of inaccurate statements highlighted the battle over facts in today's politics. The interview underscored the need for media literacy and critical thinking among viewers. O'Donnell's approach sparked debate about journalistic responsibility and technique. The broadcast challenged the media to evolve in holding leaders accountable. For Americans, it was a rare chance to see their president under pressure and judge for themselves. The interview stands as a crucial document for understanding the current political landscape.